What is FTX?
Yeah, for sure. So by all means, I'm not a super crypto expert, but
Yeah, and this is
definitely,
not a financial
um,
advice, by the
yeah, this is not
way.
financial advice. But yeah, I mean, FTX, if you guys don't know, is a cryptocurrency exchange. I believe they have an international and US exchange where
Well,
you
now
can
we
buy and sell
know.
cryptocurrencies. Yeah, and you can use leverage as well. And they had a lending platform to just stake your money and essentially make more. This was owned by Sam, who is the CEO of FTX, and they've grown quite a bit. But the
Sam
story of
Bankman
what
Bankman Fried, like
Bankman
such a
Free,
such an interesting name.
exactly.
Goes by
Yeah,
SBF.
SPF, exactly. That's what all the crypto Twitter people call them. But yeah, honestly, this story has is gonna go down as one of the biggest in crypto history, I think. Just learning from just being in the space since 2013, this is probably one of the most screwed up things that's happened, I guess. So I mean, we can definitely just get
So
started with
yeah,
like,
let's get started. Let's
yeah,
start from the beginning. How did the whole scandal started? What
yeah,
happened?
for sure. So, if you guys don't know, there's another huge exchange. It's probably the biggest in the world. It's called Binance. The CEO, they call him CZ on Twitter. He is kind of the biggest influence in the Twitter in the like crypto space, essentially. So Binance was an early investor in FTX, and FTX started to grow really big in like 2017, 2018, and moving forward into kind of where we are today. So they essentially became the second biggest exchange just behind Binance.
Right.
And by doing this, they were cutting crazy marketing deals. If you guys aren't aware, the Miami Heat actually, or the Miami has an arena that is named uh, by then I think it's the FTX arena. I'm not too sure. I don't know if
Oh
that's the
wow.
crypto.com arena or it's the FTX arena, one of the two.
Yeah,
They signed
crypto.com is in Los
deals.
Angeles, but yeah,
Yeah,
Tom
exactly.
Brady was a
So
lot on the news because of them.
yeah, I think Tom Brady had something along the lines of like 650 mil. I don't know if that's completely true, but that's what was going around on kind of
Yeah.
Twitter. But yeah, so they they bought out the rights to name an arena in Miami, FTX Arena. They had deals with Steph Curry. A lot of athletes were kind of getting onboarded with
Do you
FTX, and
do you think they
essentially,
were just like endorsement deals, like, oh, can we like lend me your name, or we'll just use it, we'll slap it on our brand, or did they actually like all these athletes they were invested on in
I
FTX?
I think I think it was a little bit of both. I think a lot of these athletes were invested into FTX as at the time, like FTX was probably one of the most trusted exchanges, seeing how they were growing so quickly. And the fact of the matter of there was so many athletes that just were locked in with them. They have really good kind of industry partners alongside them, so it was just right for those types of kind of celebrities to join on and become a part of FTX, right?
Yeah, it was just the
Um,
thing, right? It was just the thing
yeah,
of the moment. Yeah.
yeah. So, Binance and FTX kind of started off as friends, and soon they became competitors. Again, as FTX was number two, Binance was number one. Binance had to make sure that they were not going to get taken over,
Uh-huh.
essentially. So, um, Binance had a stake in FTX through FTT, which is their token.
Hmm.
Um, they agreed to initially they had agreed to buy $2 billion worth of FTT. Um, Basically, FTT is used for cutting trading fees. That's mostly kind of essentially what their
Right.
utility for that token was.
So FTX
And then
issued their own token, FTT, and Binance bought a bunch of those, 500 million or so. I'm not sure, something like
yeah, I
that.
think it was about two billion they agreed to. So essentially what happened was like CZ came out and says that SBF or Sam
Uh-huh.
uh, is hearing that he's talking crap about them to regulators. So
Uh-huh.
saying Binance is doing sketchy stuff, this, that.
So Sam is talking
So
shit about Binance, he's talking to regulators, or he's talking to the public.
yeah, he's talking to both regulators and a little bit of the public. So
Uh-huh.
obviously CZ was just not having that. So he sent out a tweet a couple of days ago saying he was going to dump the entire $2 billion worth of FTT onto the market, and anyone holding FTT obviously is going to know that this is definitely like terrible news because a $2 billion worth
Hmm.
of coins being dumped on the market is just not a good look, and
So
this would essentially crush the price, right?
did CZ explain why he's dumping?
I'm sure there was a ton of background stuff going on, just
Hmm.
really sketchy stuff from Sam that I guess CZ was not kind of liking. I'm sure there's a ton of information on Twitter. I definitely have to do a little more research on that end, but
Right.
there's definitely some, underground stuff that was happening that not a lot of the
Hmm.
public retail trader would be aware of, right?
Hmm.
So,
So out of the blue, he just says that, and then what happened? Like, how did the market react?
not everyone liked it. Essentially, what happened was as soon as he kind of tweeted that out, I think there was some selling on CZ's part, Binance, and I think the price dropped about 15 to 20% overnight after that tweet, which is not good.
Price of their token.
Um, yeah, price of their token FTT. So obviously, with all the FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, everything
Hmm.
goes down.
Hmm.
And this is where Almada or Almeida, I don't know how to
Alameda.
really pronounce it.
I think it's Alameda.
Alameda,
Yeah.
Alameda, yes, this is Sam's company before FTX. Essentially, it's just a hedge fund, like market maker company that he started before coming on to FTX. Um, well, they got exposed. So on their balance sheet, they had $12 billion in assets, and about 7 billion of their assets were in FTT and other altcoins that were illiquid.
Hmm.
So where's all the money? Essentially, is what people are thinking, because if you have $12 billion in assets and almost more than half of it is illiquid, this can't be good for
Yeah,
FTX
half of
as
them
they're
is
like
is in the token that you created yourself, basically.
exactly. And so FTT is plummeting because of Binance selling everything, and CZ
Right.
is just like, hey, causing mayhem
Everyone's
across the
fleeing.
board.
Everyone's fleeing. Everyone's dumping it now.
Yeah, this is just everyone's flooding, everyone's scared. They're like, what do I do? Panic sell, panic sell. There's been a lot that's happened in this bear market over the last couple months, couple years. You look back at Celsius, Terra Luna, which is one of like the biggest rugs. I
Hmm.
think this was a lot different when it came down to it. Um,
Why was this different?
Luna, so Luna, everyone knew what Luna was. It was outright from the beginning. Duquan knew it was basically a scam. The tech itself was not sustainable whatsoever. In this case, we're talking about a crypto exchange that a lot of people trusted in and would assume that their funds were safe. Again, like this is something that's very important is your wallet security and making sure you have a majority of your assets in a custodial wallet, whether it's a hardware wallet like a ledger. Make sure you guys have your funds safe, because you never know. FTX was one of the biggest crypto exchanges, and they essentially just rugged everybody. um, within the first 24, 48 hours, there was over $1 billion of withdrawals when it announced that Binance was selling all their tokens. So at that point, knowing that they were basically in a liquidity crunch. They had 12 billion in assets, $7 billion in basically illiquid assets. So
But
they were about to be insolvent.
but didn't Sam tweet it right before, like a day before, that hey, our like everything is fine. We have like liquidity. We have assets. Something along those lines, where like there's nothing to worry about. Like, why do you think he tweeted that? Because that was obviously not true.
Yeah, it's just when you think about it, it just goes to show what type of person he is. It's like he's willing to lie and kind of keep defending what he's been doing, which was leveraging client funds and assets, bringing them
Hmm.
to Almeida, and just trading and basically leveraging money that he shouldn't have been using in the first place.
Yeah, and so let's what happened afterwards? Like when everything crashed, obviously FTX, just like their token is crashing, people are withdrawing money. All of a sudden, FTX cannot cover those withdrawals. They had to stop. You couldn't withdraw money from them. You couldn't withdraw money from, and then we learned that apparently there is FTX United States and FTX the rest of the world, and looks like US is sort of fine. But like, what was the next kind of news about it though?
Yeah, so right after all of that happened, CZ announces that he is going to buy FTX, and everything started to pump. But I believe it was a non-bind, or it was a contract where he was able to pull out of it.
Hmm.
Um, and so after looking at the numbers, I think he announced after not even 24 hours that they decided to back out of the deal, and that's when the entire market just decided to plummet even more. And I've just
Yeah.
found out about like 30 minutes ago that Sam needs to cover about $9.4 billion for investors. And I think Tron is looking to cover some of those payments and bought out a bit of
Yeah.
FTX from, as far as I know.
So
So,
that's interesting, right? I saw some news this morning as well where CZ's decided. So basically, based on what I read, Sam went to CZ, who is his enemy, let's say. Although I don't believe
yeah,
that it's that dramatic, to be honest. I feel like they're all kind of buddies at the end of the day. But I feel like he went to him and said, "Hey, can you buy me out? Right? Can you buy FTX and stuff like that?" And the news yesterday were like, "Okay, so Binance is buying, Binance is buying." Uh, and then CZ or Binance lawyers or whomever, they looked at the books. And I think this morning or yesterday night, they just said, like, you know what, we're not going to buy. We're just like not going to go along with the deal. And meanwhile, I see a bunch of this news where like Security and Exchange Commission, United States law enforcement, and all of that, they're all looking into this FTX thing, and like they're requesting a bunch of assets to be frozen and stuff like that, based on what I've read. But like, what do you think CZ saw? Like, why do you think CZ changed his mind? What did he see there?
CZ
What the hell?
CZ is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers.
You think?
I
Okay.
think he's come to a point where he knows that FTX is done for, and it's like, why should I come and save FTX when we can just take all these client customers? And I know it's definitely like it's been rough for a ton of people on FTX, like not being able to withdraw their life savings. Like I know like a ton of people have been really affected by it, and like all these crypto influencers. But at the end of the day, it's a very tough decision to make. And if you look at the books and realize that these guys are in a ton of crap and it's a huge hole to dig past if you see $9.4 billion that you have to cover. It's like, does
Right.
CZ, I know CZ has a ton of money in his treasure chest, but
What's the point, right?
is what's the point? And I'm sure he's somehow going to get bailed out by someone. Obviously, this news is very new to us. It's been a couple days, 2 days, not even. There's still a lot to uncover. I think even as of now, like Twitter's still being updated with a ton of news and events on kind of what's happening. And uh, yeah, I mean, I'm just even reading here about like a credible source close to Sam about what's going on internally and how he offered employees a lot of shares early on, which the limit was about 250K, which could be matched up with a 250K investment from FTX US at a market rate, um, and just giving employees a ton of incentives, which at the end of the day was just really weird seeing how he was promising,
Like
a
promises
ton of
he
money
cannot keep.
overnight. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it was very sketchy on his end, and apparently the way he was firing a lot of people that didn't really agree to his mission was by saying they were not a cultural or yeah, not a culture fit to the
Yeah.
company.
Classic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I feel like, from CZ's point of view, maybe he was definitely like he was considering like buying FTX, but then like what is he actually trying to buy here? I feel like it might be a customer acquisition play where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna buy all these users from here, and at least like I have that. But then like, after looking at the books, and he probably saw some accounting shenanigans or whatever, he kind of like downed it on him like, well, why do I need to spend money on those users? The reputation of FTX is already tarnished. They will flee to my platform either way, so might as well just wait until the whole house burns down, and then he'll just take over the land. I feel like maybe that's what was going through my mind, like just like from the cost perspective. It's just beneficial for him just to wait it out. He did. Sam today tweeted something. He has like this Twitter thread, and he said to my sparring partner, "Well played, you won." Besides other emails that he said where he fucked up and all of that. But
yeah.
like, do you think he meant CZ? Like he said, CZ, you won.
I was reading a couple comments and I think it was a shot at either CZ or Bitboy
BitBoy?
or
Yeah. I
yeah,
saw BitBoy saying,
yeah.
I'm not too familiar with BitBoy to be honest. I wasn't really
Yeah,
following, but BitBoy was
myself,
like running around like saying, I told you so on Twitter," and I was like, okay, you were right. So apparently he was like definitely, but I don't think is BitBoy that big?
he's pretty big in this. I'm personally not a fan of him. He's just I like to really just stick to my roots and you know
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I just don't really agree with people that kind of take sponsorships on to promote coins. It's just
Yeah.
really not the best people to be following in the crypto space, right?
Hard to trust,
So
yeah. And
yeah,
then,
definitely hard to trust.
okay, so with the situation that we're having right now, you mentioned that Tron wants to get involved. Do you know anything about like what's happening there right now at this moment in terms of like how they want to get involved? What sort of deals they're looking? So now that Binance is not buying FTX, Sam is still at the helm. Uh,
Yeah.
he's still free to do, I guess, whatever he wants to do. So he's out there raising capital. He tries to cover the debt. What's happening?
Yeah. I think they were trying to cover the debt, and I think I'm reading here that Justin Sun safeguard the overall blockchain industry and crypto market. Tron DAO Reserve will purchase, I believe this is 300 million USDT in the market, and I'm assuming this is here to help kind of Sam and FTX with the holder in. So
Why
that's
are they helping
kind of
him?
what I'm reading here. Who knows? I think
Is it just like kind of like a murder kind of thing? They're just like a part of the same crew or so? Like we have to stick together, sentimental stuff, or is there any upside for them business wise?
honestly, I think here I'm reading FTX reaches agreement with Tron, allowing TRX, BTT, JST, Sun, and HT holders to swap assets from FTX one-to-one to external wallets. So they're basically
Why?
just taking their customers and letting them swap into kind of TRX or the Tron
Right.
ecosystem.
Like on their wallets though, right? They have to like quit the FTX and go into their.
Yeah, they got to
That's
go
a
into
that
their
fuck.
ecosystem.
That's a
So
lot
it's kind
of
of just like,
hoops to jump through to be if you're a customer. Like, oh my God.
but
Like,
honestly, a lot of them are very desperate because you look at it, FTX paused withdrawals, so none of them were able to take their money out. But given Tron giving them a gateway to retrieve their funds, they're
yeah.
getting new clients from FTX, so it's a win-win on their end.
I know, but if you're like a John, I know like if you're some sort of like whatever, a couple thousand here and there, 10,000 in FTX, 10,000 in Binance. But if you're an average Joe and you're like, oh man, I just invested like $1,000 in FTX, was just like trying to buy the dip, and now I have to deal with this thing. I now need to learn what the hell Tron is and like how to move.
Yeah,
Oh my God, that's just like I don't know what's their average client is like, but wow. Yeah, and at least it's
yeah,
something. At least they're not just like burning it and just like saying, okay, it's over.
yeah. I think it was really just a big play to get people on the Tron blockchain while
Mm,
they had the opportunity to, seeing how people
yeah.
have like from some of the crypto influencers that I follow, they had like 5, 6 figures
Mhm.
locked up, and if that was their only gateway out, I think that would probably be the more reasonable instead of being
Of course.
locked up and no
Yeah,
way of getting their money, right?
that's
So
true. So is he gonna go to jail or what? What do you think?
by the looks of it, I think so. I mean, him and a lot of his counterparties or
Yeah,
anyone that was involved are definitely going to be in a sticky one with legal. So, I mean, who knows? We'll definitely expect to see if you. I don't know how you kind of. It's crazy to think if you put into perspective, you're making billions of dollars off of probably one of the biggest exchanges, and you decide let's just use client funds and
uh-huh.
try to make more money off of it. Like, wasn't kind of the fees from the exchange not enough for you guys to
In
sustain your
this
business?
in this market, can you imagine?
Yeah,
Fuck.
it's greed. Like,
Hmm.
and there was rumors that Almedia was kind of they took huge losses when Luna happened, so FTX was looking to bail them out. So
Hmm.
I think they were kind of becoming insolvent right when Luna happened. That's kind of my perspective from it.
So it's kind of funny. Like around June of this year, Sam was in the news, praised like some sort of a gangster hero, like meaning like he's such a badass. He like bailed out a bunch of companies. Can you like refresh my memory on that a little bit and just like tell the listeners like what happened like back in June when we had similar situations, and then somehow with
Yeah,
Sam. Yeah.
so there was companies like kind of Celsius, Terra Luna. There was a lot of companies going bankrupt because of kind of the situation that was happening. So FTX came in and bailed them out by essentially just instead of going insolvent, they were giving them money, and it just really didn't work out in the end. I mean, if you look at them now, them trying to help other people, they had their balances screwed over by trying to
Yeah.
leverage client funds, and that's how they were able to help out those other um, companies, right? It's like, how do you have the money to do that? It's like, hey, let's just borrow, you know, our client funds and pretend like, no one saw us doing it.
And
And they
Sa
got away with it for quite a bit.
yeah, and Sam Bankman-Fried, he was praised like some sort of JP Morgan of our times because he bailed out like Three Arrows Capital and Celsius and all of that, and he was like the man. He was the guy who saved the industry. And I think the most, like as you said in the beginning, that this is so huge, like in the past like 10 years or whatever, you haven't seen anything like that. I think it's so huge because of the the size of FTX and just the amount of public trust that Sam had,
I
and no
think,
one
yeah,
expected it. Is that correct?
it was definitely a trust thing because all these previous kind of things that all this bearish news or events that occurred within the last couple of years were all due to hacks, just really shady people, shady business. Um, but this one, it's like everyone thought Sam was the god of crypto, and he was here, helping just to make crypto more, I guess, accessible to a wider audience, with all these marketing deals. And there was, I think, a lot of controversy with him with regulation around crypto. Um, but yeah, just him being the center spotlight of the scene, like as of right now, crypto, people were believing that this was the bottom of the bear market that we were in, with a lot of the news coming from the feds with inflation lowering month to month. People thought like, hey, like this is the time Bitcoin should bottom out and start pumping again. But with this news coming, it really just delayed us by who knows how long.
What do you think? Like, do you think Sam is misunderstood? Like, I see on Twitter, maybe it's bots or something, because it's the same message over and over, but saying like, "Hey, buddy, we're with you. We know you're a good guy. Like, we're gonna support you. It's okay. Like, you're gonna come back to it." And then Sam publicly apologizing to everyone and saying that he fucked up and all of that. Uh, do you feel like and he described in his Twitter like, "Oh, I made a mistake. I thought something something." Like he used this weird language, like margin was this, but it was that, and I was like 1 to 18, but it was actually 1 to 2 or something. Like all those kind of like weird arithmetics. Do you think he just made a genuine mistake, or he really like it, or was he actually just like it was like a typical greed? He just like it was just like an emotional thing that was very, and that was egocentric of him, and he just like narcissistic. I don't know. Like, do you think he was just like he really just messed up? It was like an innocent mistake. He overlooked
Mm,
something.
I think he's us like, excuse my language, a scumbag. I mean, he knew what he was doing all along. There was tweets from months ago where he would tweet out like, "We are moving this amount of funds to Almeida. Don't worry, this is just like a drill." But it was him taking like he was taking people's money and just gambling with it, basically. So he knew what he was doing all along. He's had shady business with kind of a lot of the governments and um, yeah, I think this is just what he's saying now to apologize is not enough. You look at the Twitter comments, everybody's just flaming him. I mean, he's lost people billions of dollars in the last 2 days and has tanked the entire crypto market by a lot. And it's just lost a lot of trust for people. Even myself, I mean, I've been in it for so long and this was so demotivating. I personally, I've lost a lot of money in what's happened in the last couple of days just from
Oh
the
shit.
market crashing and just being like
Hmm.
trading here and there. It's a lot, and I can't imagine people that have like a lot of money locked up on FTX and not being able to touch it, and they're just so lost right now. It feels like a bad breakup where it's you're in shock and you don't know what to expect, and it's just
Wow.
like, okay, I just lost my entire life savings thanks to this guy Sam, who is a greedy gambler at the end of the day.
Yeah. How do you think this will affect the industry, other businesses? What's gonna happen now with crypto?
It's weird because even looking at it, some of the investors that were invested in FTX that had like built up such a trust was a part of it was the Ontario pension fund. So if you're in Canada, you're in Toronto, like I think there's like about $400 million invested in FTX from the Ontario Pension Fund,
Even they
which is
trusted them.
insane to me. They trusted them, and now that money is basically zero. There's other like Sequoia Capital. I think they just marked down their investment to zero as well. So it's tough. I mean, I think a lot of people are looking to become, more aware of where they keep their money, and there's a lot of trust issues. You never know. You just have to assume everybody's a bad actor in crypto, and it's mostly important that you look to have full custody of all your funds. There's a lot of, if you want to be trading, there's a lot of other crypto exchanges, like decentralized crypto exchanges out there, that you could be on, that you use your MetaMask wallet, you use whatever,
Hmm.
where you actually own your funds, that you're able to trade with. But again, yeah, it's really a bummer. A lot of people that are kind of very baseline new to crypto are probably looking at this as either a huge buying opportunity, or as of right now, just this is an entire Ponzi scheme. It's a scam. We definitely get all the emotions. I mean, from a person that's been in it for a while myself, like, I don't know what to think, but I know that, dark times comes for the best time to basically buy the dip, and just, in a couple months, people are going to slowly start to forget and realize, who knows, in a couple years, when, if a bull run happens again and we go above 60K, it's like, look at this opportunity that we missed at buying at, I
Hmm.
think Bitcoin hit 15, 16K. So
Right.
there's always opportunity. Definitely not financial advice, but
Right.
how low is low, when what other bad news can come out of this,
Well,
other than
yeah.
yeah, other than, if Binance goes insolvent, then that'll be probably really bad. But I'm pretty sure they showed proof of reserves, so I think that's what exchanges are starting to show now, and it's good.
Yeah.
So you know that how much they actually have on their balance sheet.
Right. So now exchanges are going transparent and they're showing that, hey, we're not leveraging stuff. We're not gambling with your money. Here they are. Like here's everything's here. Um, we have only 10 minutes left. Do you think FTX as a brand, as an entity, will exist, in the next 12 months, or they will just like liquidate everything and they're just gonna rebrand or just like sell all the
Yeah,
assets?
no, I don't think they're gonna exist. I mean, we've seen this with, like, there's a couple exchanges used to be on, like, I know Quadriga, Poloniex. There's gonna be new exchanges that come. This case is a lot different. It's definitely very negative from the outlook of everyone in the crypto space. There's so many other exchanges out there that, you know, you can try, or you can try to trust, that, show proof of reserves. They won't use your money to gamble with. And I think that's what people should learn from. It's definitely a huge learning experience. And I think um, I just don't see FTX just being in the space in 12 months. I think Sam will probably see him in jail, and a lot of the people that was working alongside him. And I think there's just going to be a huge investigation that goes on. But it's
Mhm.
good to kind of get this over with now, so that we don't hopefully see this happen in the future, and crypto can kind of heal from it. Because if this happened when we were in the middle of a bull run, then it could have gotten worse.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Do you feel like we're gonna see more regulation from the governments?
That's the thing. Now that this has happened, I think a lot of governments are going to be like, hey, if there's going to be stricter rules in place to be getting all these certifications to be able to, open up a crypto exchange or do certain things like staking, or providing lending, things like that. So
Hmm.
it's not looking too great. And then, kind of, I guess, like, on the other hand, you have Elon Musk, who is just here with buying Twitter.
Yeah.
There's a huge just revolution happening with him coming in, kind of forced into this, was it $40-ish billion deal to buy Twitter that he's got forced into, and now he's making a ton of changes. You can have a
Hey,
verified check for $8 now. So I mean,
I
hey,
bought it. I'm verified
nice.
on
I mean,
Twitter now.
good for you. Honestly, good for
I felt
you.
like maybe they're gonna like somehow like move it away or something, but I just wanted to experience that one time in my life, like to be verified. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, it's good because it's weird. It's like, I don't know, is it a
I'm
good
just
thing that
I don't
verification
know.
back
Well,
and
I
stuff.
think they're gonna change some stuff, but I'm like, okay, this is just like a research purpose for marketing or whatever, just to see how it feels to have this cloud. But now they have like this thing with the check mark where you click on the check mark and it tells you what kind of check mark it is. Is it because you're famous or
Yeah,
because you paid $8?
yeah. I saw there was a podcast that Elon was on saying that he wants to turn Twitter into WeChat in China
Yeah, 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 yeah.
because it was just so
Which is
like you can do
powerful.
everything,
Yeah. Hmm.
payments, and that's where Dogecoin could possibly come in, or
Yeah.
another like digital currency that can come in and become a part of Twitter and do payments through
Hmm.
Twitter in America
He is trying
because
to, yeah. Sorry, he is
yeah, he
trying to
just go on.
he's applying for licensing for payments licensing on Twitter. So that's where like okay,
Yeah,
like this what he's like thinking here. But I love that we have this opportunity to like we'll see how he makes changes in the company like live, because we're all using that platform. Like for example, with Tesla or SpaceX or whatever, we just use the final product. And here we're like guinea pigs, we actually can see the changes as they go. So that's
yeah,
kind
and
of
he
interesting.
and then firing kind of half the employees and looking. And I think I saw an article today about how he's bringing everybody out of remote work and
Oh yeah.
everyone has to come into office. So
Yeah, that
that's
one is
quite
ouch.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just being and firing a lot of those software engineers and engineers, I think what's going to happen is going to be a huge shift in how Twitter operates because a lot of people aren't going to understand what this what certain systems do, and
Hmm.
that could be the fall of Twitter of just you fire this senior software engineer who runs this certain department, but
Yeah.
and they were working at Twitter for like who knows like 10 plus years and they're the only ones that know how to work this part of it, and now it's like you remove them from the equation and you have these
Hmm.
developers that might not be too experienced, and like
Yeah.
what do? You just kind of fired half of your company intelligence when it comes to actually knowing the project on the back end.
Either way, I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. Even if it's going to go down, like it would be interesting to see that. I feel like
Yeah,
it's not like him or not, he does have an impressive track record and like creating these companies and like operating them.
yeah,
But we are like I'd love to talk more about Tesla with you, but maybe in another podcast when we have more news. We are getting running out of time. So Miggy, I just wanted to say thank you so much for explaining to me and for my listeners and viewers this whole drama, the saga of Binance versus FTC, who is Sam Bankman-Fried and CZ and all of that. I feel like this is all like kind of I don't know, as you said, like there are tectonic movements, happening in the industry. So it's important that everyone understands what exactly is happening. Thank you.
for sure. Of course. I mean, thank you again for having me on the podcast. That was kind of just like a very entry level kind of thesis or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
ramble of what's happening in the space. And again, like Twitter is your best friend if you want to know more about what's happening. Like it's all over Twitter at the moment. So definitely go check it out. And again, Samir, I appreciate you a lot for having me on here. I think this
thanks,
is
Miggy.
probably one of my first podcasts to actually kind of
Oh
speak
yeah.
on. So
Well, it's definitely
hats off to
not.
you.
Thank you, sir. It's not the last one. Can people find you somewhere, like follow you somewhere, or just how can they like learn more about you?
Yeah, I mean, for anyone in the professional scene, Miguel Henson on LinkedIn, you'll see a picture of me. I mean, you can find me on there. That's probably your best bet. I do post a lot of Web3 content on there and kind of just my thoughts on what's happening in the space. So,
Cool.
yeah,
All right, I'll post the links as well. Thank you so much, Miggy.
awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.